I received an email from Connie this week, and she was sharing with me that her motivation to train has just gone down the drain relatively quickly since the beginning of the year. She wanted me to walk through what could be the catalyst for just lacking the motivation. She's a very competitive person, both personally, professionally, and definitely in the athletic realm. But she was really confused as to where would all my motivation go. So I want to share with you some of the things that we spoke about, and I'm hoping it will help you as well if you are lacking in the area of motivation right now. The very first thing that we take a look at is when did when did the enjoyment of exercise become training? Whatever your sport of choice is, right? If you grew up as a runner, when did running become always training versus just putting on your running shoes and going out for a good, enjoyable run? If you grew up riding motocross, when did it go from swinging a leg over a motorcycle was I went and rode my motorcycle to now everything is training? We could do that with skateboarding, wakeboarding, BMX, all the different sports that we're involved with. When did that threshold get crossed into every activity as a training session? Now that may sound a little hypocritical coming from me as a human performance specialist, but if you follow me for any period of time, you know I'm a very big fan of balance. Why do you train? How do you reward yourself? Not in a fluffy way that most of society looks at it today, but what we refer to as your currency. When you do achieve something athletically, personally, professionally, how do you reward yourself? My personal oasis is the beach. So when I get a digital product done, I already have it on the calendar that as soon as that's accomplished, Michaela and I will go to the beach. We'll plan a day on the boat. That's our currency. And I want to challenge you on that. When did you cross into every exercise session as a training session? And then when you do train, where's the rewards? Because here's where the lack of motivation comes in. If you think about a dog, we just recently rescued a new golden doodle. And this golden doodle had a pretty rough upbringing. Well, if every time I act like I'm going to give him a treat and I pull it away, eventually he's going to quit acting as if he wants it. Well, as you keep moving your reward system, you get programmed where it's just like there's no gratification, there's no achievement. Again, I'm not saying everybody that does anything needs to get into participation award. It's not what I'm after. We want to go back to where's the motivation gone. Motivation comes from some level of intrinsic reward that's based on your level of current currency. The other thing I want you to think about is how are you doing with the volume of food and water, electrolytes and sugar necessary to fuel the workouts that you're doing. We find this quite often that motivation will start to wane quite a bit when the athlete is in a category of overtraining. And most people think it's the volume, it's the intensity, it's the frequency. Certainly that's part of the equation. But if you followed me or heard me on my Coach Robb podcast, what is the definition of overtraining? Not absorbing the work that you're doing. The only way you can absorb the work that you're doing, regardless of volume, regardless of intensity, regardless of duration and frequency, is are you getting enough food and sleep to absorb that level of exercise? If that's not happening, you're going to see your motivation go in the tank pretty quickly. The final thing I want you to think about is mental and physical staleness. If you're one of my clients, you know that we change your workout, like for example, the strength program. We change that every 6 to 8 weeks. And I want you as a viewer of this video to understand muscles are very smart. After about 6 to 8 weeks, the muscles become what we refer to as stale. So the first couple weeks you create muscle confusion, then you create 2 to 3 weeks of muscle adaptation, then you go into rest mode. If you fail to adhere to that ideology, you could find yourself mentally becoming unmotivated because the muscles are stale, and you just become kind of stuck in this endless loop that becomes unmotivating, unstimulating. You're not seeing the incremental gains that you used to see, and then right behind it is going to come that mental, not sure that I want to do this anymore. I'm not saying again that we have to be like Pavlov's dog and be rewarded for every little thing, but you have to understand the way the brain works is if we're stuck doing the same thing over and over again, we don't change it up, the muscles become stale. If every time we work out, we overtrain and undereat and undersleep, we're going to become mentally bored and unmotivated. And if every exercise session becomes a training session, i.e. you have no downtime, you're going to become mentally unmotivated. So I hope that clarifies a lengthy conversation that I had in a very short period of time. These are great questions because what we want is to make sure that you are constantly enjoying your workouts. Again, not in a fluffy, flaky way, but the idea that everything that you put out is a building block of accomplishment to get you from where you're at to where you want to get to, and do it in a systematic manner where your incremental improvements are almost guaranteed and your sans an injury or a virus. If you get sick or you get hurt, obviously that's going to slow down your progress. Great question that came in here, and I'm hoping that if you have a question, whether it's something that I may have said in this video, something that you might be dealing with, please do me a favor and send us an email. Doesn't matter what the subject matter is, we're happy to do a deep dive. Please send it to contact@coachrob.com. Turn on your notifications. Please make sure you subscribe because we're putting out a new video every day here on YouTube. We appreciate your time on this video today, and we certainly look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.